Do you often find yourself getting angry more often than you'd like? Or perhaps you lose your temper at those that you love, and know that if things don't change, you may lose the people that matter the most to you. If so, you're not alone. In today's episode of the Anger Secrets podcast, I'm going to answer some of the most frequently asked questions about anger. We'll cover everything from understanding what anger really is, to why it happens, and most importantly, how to control it. Whether you're someone who struggles with anger, or you just want to learn more about this important emotion, this episode is for you. Hello and welcome to episode 98 of the Anger Secrets podcast. I'm your host, Alistair Dews. Over the past 30 years, I've helped more than 15,000 men and women control their anger, master their emotions, and create calmer, happier, and more respectful relationships. In today's episode, I'll be answering some of the most frequently asked questions about anger management. But before I do, if you'd like my personal help to control your anger, visit my website at angersecrets.com to book a free 30-minute anger assessment call with me. I'd be honoured to support you on your journey to controlling your anger, mastering your emotions, and creating calmer, happier, and more loving relationships. With that said, let's dive into today's topic, anger management frequently asked questions. Question 1 is, what is anger? In episode 2 of this podcast, I gave a detailed description of what anger is. But to keep things simple, the definition of anger I use the most is this one. Anger is a strong and uncomfortable feeling that people have, often in response to a perceived hurt, injustice, or wrongdoing. Although this statement may seem straightforward, it's very important. Anger is an emotional response to an event or situation. This makes anger different from actions such as abuse or violence, which are harmful behaviours that often arise out of anger. To help make this point clear, let me share a story about one of my clients named Paul. Paul is a 40-year-old father of 2 who struggled with anger issues. Whenever Paul got angry, however, he would yell and swear at his wife and kids, and say hurtful things that he didn't really mean. He knew that his actions were damaging his relationships and his family, but he couldn't seem to control his anger. Once Paul learned, however, that anger is simply an emotion, he started to view this anger differently. He realized that he could choose how to respond to his anger, rather than just reacting without thinking. I still needed to teach Paul the tools to control his anger, but this was a huge breakthrough for him. Remember, anger, just like any other emotion, such as sadness, happiness, fear, or anxiety, is a natural and normal emotion that we all experience. It's how you choose to respond to your anger that makes all the difference. Question 2 is, why do we get angry? Now that you know what anger is, let's discuss why you experience it. Of course, there are many reasons why people get angry, but the key thing to understand about anger is that it's not what others say or do that causes your anger. It's your thoughts about what others say or do that creates your anger. Or, as I have said in other podcast episodes, you create your anger. I had a client several years ago, for instance, named Mark, who struggled with road rage. Mark would get furious whenever someone cut him off in traffic, as he assumed that they were intentionally trying to annoy him. After working with me, Mark realized that it wasn't the other drivers that were making him angry. It was his interpretation of their actions. Once he learned to change his thoughts about other drivers, such as by thinking that they may be in a rush or that they had simply made a mistake, his anger significantly decreased. Question 3. Is anger always a bad thing? Another common question about anger I get asked a lot is anger always a bad thing? The answer to this question is that, in theory, no, anger isn't always bad. There are times when anger can be beneficial, such as when anger gives you the energy and focus to address dangerous or unjust situations. For example, anger can be a powerful motivating force to stand up for yourself or others. However, it's crucial to use anger wisely. I once worked with a client named Richard who found himself getting angry in meetings at work, especially when he felt his ideas were being dismissed. While Richard's anger initially fueled his drive to prove himself, it also often led to confrontations that damaged his professional relationships. Through our sessions, Richard learned to harness his anger productively, using it as motivation to prepare even better arguments and to remain calm under pressure, which eventually earned him the respect of his colleagues. In most situations, however, anger isn't helpful. As you probably know, reacting out of anger often leads to poor decisions and strained relationships. The key is to learn how to manage your anger effectively, so that you can use it in constructive ways when necessary, but also keep it under control when it's not beneficial. Question 4 is, how can I tell if I have an anger issue? The next question I want to answer is, how do you know if you have an anger issue? There are many possible answers to this question, but the one I prefer is simple. If your anger is causing problems in your life, then you have an anger issue. These problems can range from frequent arguments with your partner to consistently losing your temper with those around you, such as your children. If you feel like your anger is getting in the way of your relationships, career, or overall well-being, then it's time to take a closer look at how you handle and express your anger. Question 5 is, how can I control my anger? The truth is, there are many different techniques and strategies for managing anger. Of course, I'm a bit biased, but I believe the most effective way to control your anger is to enroll in my powerful online coaching program that I call the Complete Anger Management System. After running this program for almost 10 years, I've seen countless people enroll in this system and achieve massive changes in their lives in just a few days or weeks. A recent example, for instance, was Anna, who joined this program after years of struggling with her temper. Within weeks, Anna was able to manage her anger effectively, even in situations that previously would have set her off. Part of the reason that the Complete Anger Management System is so successful is that it includes weekly group coaching sessions with myself, ensuring that you get the support and encouragement you need to achieve life-changing results. However, if you prefer to explore other options, there are many options available, including attending local anger management groups to help you control your anger. The important thing is not to wait. Address your anger issues as soon as possible. Taking action now to control your anger can be the difference between living a healthy, happy life and one that is filled with unnecessary stress and conflict. Okay, that's all for today's episode. To remind you, the 5 questions I answered about anger management were: Question 1, what is anger? Question 2, why do we get angry? Question 3, is anger always a bad thing? Question 4, how can I tell if I have an anger issue? And question 5, how can I control my anger? Remember, like anything else, controlling your anger takes time and practice, but it is worth the effort. By learning to control your anger, you can improve your relationships, reduce stress, and live a calmer, happier, and more peaceful life. Thank you for listening, and if you found this episode helpful, please follow this podcast, leave a rating and review on your favourite podcast app, or share it with others who might benefit from these tips. And don't forget, my website, angersecrets.com, offers a range of free resources to help you control your anger, including a free training on my top 3 secrets to control your anger in any situation. You can access this training on my website at angussecrets.com/training. And finally, remember, you can't control other people, but you can control yourself. I'll see you in the next episode. Take care.
The Anger Secrets podcast is for general informational purposes only, and does not constitute the practice of counseling, psychotherapy, or any other professional health service. No therapeutic relationship is implied or created by this podcast. If you have mental health concerns of any type, please seek out the help of a local mental health professional.